Happy Monday. Thank you for joining me for this week's Weekly Wisdom. This week we're going to go back to the year of 1917, where you have Lucy Burns and the women that she is working with to help give women the right to vote. In school, I was always given the sanitized version of what women went through to get us the right to vote. I would hear about the letter writing and the campaigning, but today I want to take you to a specific day in history, November 14th, 1917, known as the Night of Terror. Before we can talk about the Night of Terror, though, we need to talk about what led up to that. You see, Lucy Burns and the group of women that she was working with decided to do something a little bit radical when they weren't getting the results that they wanted. In January of 2017, they decided to picket the White House. At this time, nobody had picketed the White House. It was brand new territory. And people would go by and they would see the women there, and some would smile or laugh, and some would be curious and ask questions, but there wasn't a whole lot of passion behind the onlookers. Fast forward, the United States goes into World War I. The women are still picketing. They are soundless. They are not using words. They are only using signs. But the curiosity and the smirking quickly turned into anger and rage. And the women were told that if you keep picketing, you're going to be arrested. They kept picketing. And groups of women would be taken off to jail for 3 days. They would have different fines. And November 10th, the powers that be decided enough was enough. And so they took all of the women and they sent them to the Onlookers workhouse. And the workhouse wasn't known for its pleasant stay. The prisoners would have contests to see who had more maggots in their food. There was no privacy. There was no dignity. Whenever the women would wake up, they would be brought one by one into a public restroom to where the male guards would stand over them and give them toilet paper and flush the toilet for them. The women, the suffragists who were brought in, were appalled by these conditions. And they weren't going to sit there and take it quietly. If anything about this story sticks out, it's that these women were not going to suffer this injustice quietly. And so they would go on hunger strikes. But when you went on a hunger strike, you had a tube shoved down your throat and food put through the tube. But they kept doing it. They kept fighting. November 14th, 1917, the warden decided that he was going to teach them a lesson. This night would be dubbed the Night of Terror. One woman had her arms held behind her back, and she was repeatedly slammed over an iron bench. These women were clubbed, beaten, and tortured. All because they did not give up. They believed in the ability of women to have a say. Many of these women fought side by side with people of color to get the right to vote for everyone. The reason why I'm telling you this story is because this is an ugly part of our history, but it's a part of our history that we don't need to forget. It's a part of our history that explains why it's so important that each and every one of us get out to vote. It doesn't matter who you're voting for. It matters that you get out and vote. This is not a video about Republican versus Democrat. This is a video about our responsibility and our privilege to go out and vote. In August of 1920, when women finally got the right to vote, Lucy Burns, who was a part of the Night of Terror, was asked what she was going to do next. And her response, "I think we have done all of this for women, and we have sacrificed everything we possess for them. And now, let them fight for it." And so I challenge you. It is the month to vote. We are doing early voting. Check the regulations for your state. Find out what is a process for you to vote. If you can do early voting, do early voting. If you can do mail-in, do mail-in, or show up on November 3rd. But no matter what happens, make sure you vote. The men and women who came before you, who fought for the right for all of us to vote, have earned your time. And as my mama used to say, you can't complain about the outcome if you're not involved in the decision. Thank you for listening this week. I know it was a little bit different of a topic, but voting is something that has always been a very big part of my life and something that I think we all need to be a little bit more passionate about. I am very happy to announce that week 1 of Leadership Legends has gone extraordinarily well. Again, a big thank you to Dan Cockrell for being a part of week 1 and for sharing his wisdom. We have week 1's winner. He will be down in the comments. He has been notified. He is excited to receive his autographed copy of Dan Cockrell's book, How's the Culture in Your Kingdom. We will be drawing winner 2 probably today or tomorrow by the time this video airs. So make sure, if you haven't signed up yet, go to leadershiplegends2020.com, get signed up, and you will be in the drawing. We are doing drawings every single week between now and the end of Leadership Legends, and which will also include the final prize, the grand prize of 1 entry into Cockrell Academy, which is Lee Cockrell's vault of all of the information that he has. It spans over leadership and customer service and so many other topics. And a huge thank you to Lee for sponsoring Leadership Legends. Have a wonderful week. Don't forget to leave what you learned in the comments. And as always, you got this.